Hello YouTube, long time no see. How is everybody? Um, I just thought I'd do a video regarding my latest purchase. Um, it's a brand that we all know. Um, it ends in EX. That's right. It's a Timex. The other day I was sort of thinking about all the watches that I've owned, and I was sort of trying to remember them all, and most for most of my life I've enjoyed watches, I've liked watches, but I haven't really gone into that much detail about them, or particularly sort of taken notice of brands and stuff like that. So and I think my first watch was in the late 70s, probably when I was about 10 or 11, which 78, 79, something like that. And anyway, I was thinking about all the watches that I'd owned in various configurations, and then I went on to eBay, which I'm doing quite a lot of at the moment. It's become a bit of an obsession, just looking through the various listings and stuff like that. I've been trying to sell a load of stuff. I think I mentioned in my one of the very first videos that I did. I've been wanting to sell some stuff on eBay, or trying to sell some stuff on eBay, to build up a little bit of a fund that I can put towards watches. It hasn't gone quite as well as I'd hoped. I started in earnest in January, and I was hoping to have north of about 500 quid by now, but it hasn't quite worked out like that. Initially I sold quite a few bits and pieces, and was on a bit of a roll, but then I unfortunately I had to refund somebody their money, because they said that they hadn't had the item that I sent to them. So although I was a bit dubious at the time, there was nothing, neither of us could prove either way that the other one was in the wrong. So I basically had to refund this lady her I think it was what I'd sold her was a load of Tintin annuals that I'd had from when I was a kid, and there was about 30 of them, and I sold them for a pretty reasonable price actually. But actually, like I say, I had to refund her, so that meant that my PayPal account took a bit of a nosedive, and that was a couple of weeks ago. So I'm just trying to find some more stuff to sell, and I've got a few bits and pieces. If anybody wants some old vinyl, just have a look on eBay, because my parents cleared out their loft recently, and I got some old vinyl that I had from when I was a kid. I was never a big vinyl collector, or I didn't listen to music much on vinyl, because I used to buy stuff on cassettes rather than vinyl. So there's not that much, but I've got a few things. I've got a Beatles album that hopefully should raise about 20 quid by itself, and then I just sell the rest as a job lot. Anyway, yeah, I was looking on eBay, having been thinking about my previous watches, and basically I found this. It looks tiny on my wrist at the moment. It's only 30 centimeters, 30 millimeters across. But basically, it is the watch. It's the same model as the first watch I ever owned, or I was ever bought by my parents. Which as I say, was probably around 1978, 79, when I was 10 or 11 years old. And this is from according to the serial number, that I've done a bit of research, and according to the serial number, this was produced in 75. So that would fit in with the time period, if you can do that, and if you can see that. So yeah, I just bought it on a whim as a bit of a novelty, and a bit of nostalgia. It was just I was just surprised that having spent some time thinking about the watches, this actually turned up. I'm not sure I'd actually recognised many of the others. There was I think the second one I ever owned was a digital, as we used to call them in those days, with it was a red screen, and you couldn't see the numbers unless you pressed the number, and a light lit the face up. And then I had another digital one, I think not long after that, which played two Beatles tracks as the sort of the alarm tone and things like that. It played Hey Jude and Yesterday. That ended up going swimming with me, which is another story altogether. But yeah, so those are probably the first two or three that I remember. But this is definitely the same style as the first one I ever owned. I suppose you'd call that a field watch style, or possibly a pilot watch. I think it's probably more field watch, really. Yeah, so as I say, it's just bit of a novelty item. I probably paid a little bit too much over the odds for it, really, but it's I don't mind doing that. You know, it was less than 50 quid anyway. So, well, considerably less than 50 quid. But as I say, it was probably a little bit more than I should have done. Yep. So I just thought I'd show you that. Hopefully the next time we meet, or I post another one of these things, I will have something a little bit more substantial. Again, it depends on how my eBay goes, because that's my main source of income for this at the moment. You know, sort of, it's not an option really to sort of put money aside from wages and stuff like that. So, and I'm not in the position where I want to start getting stuff on tick or on the Never Never. So this will be my, as I say, hopefully continuing that for a while. Try and restock. I've got it was my birthday recently, and my wife bought me a new tablet, so I'm going to put the old one up on there. That'll probably fetch hopefully 50 quid, something like that, maybe a bit more of that. So yeah, so as I say here, hopefully next time I'll have something a little bit more substantial to look at. Probably won't be much more than, you know, a few hundred quid, something like that, but hopefully a little bit more interesting than this. But as I say, this is just a bit of a novelty, and you know, I'll enjoy it for a while, and then who knows what happens. I'll probably stick it in a drawer somewhere, or maybe keep it in my watch box. Anyway, that's it for me now. Okay, cheers, bye.